record the lesson now, okay? There we go. Right, okay. So, yeah, what we want me to do or that over the weekend. Flipgrids always remain open, so if you don't get it done over the weekend, not a huge issue. Not going to get annoyed and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, certainly I'll put in an e-praise and on the assignment by Tuesday. Yeah. If it's on e-praise, what does that mean, Will?
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Okay, we'll spark a little debate on this, since everybody's into having a debate, okay? Your immediate reaction is, why do you, I come back to you, Will, and then I would say, why do you ask that question? Well, the one that you just asked me.
We have to do the homework.
Yeah. So why do you ask that question?
Because I didn't know if it's compulsory. Because you said you're not going to get annoyed if you don't do it. So.
Yeah, but I've also said that I've put a soft deadline of Tuesday. Here's a question. Why do you think I want you to do this? And why? Two questions. Why do you think I want you to do it? And why do you think I'm asking you to do it on Flipgrid rather than I just said, right, instead of writing class today, I want to know about your views on guns in America. Amy.
Do you think I'm making like a video or audio and show it?
Thank you. See that a bit, one a bit slower. I know you just feel a bit it's muffling you a bit.
I said that so you can make like a video or audio and so the school can see it.
Well, it's not just everyone in the school. I don't really want everyone in the school just to hear it or to see it. There's a little bit of that. I think it's good to share these things. Alfred.
Because it's good to share our views and interest, views and opinions on this sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is quite right. It's a big topic we're looking at here. It's a big debate. It's a powerful debate. It's a powerful topic, and it's got a lot of relevance, isn't it, Vera? Sam.
This is a question. Does Flipgrid sponsor us?
We do a lot of Flipgrid, but they don't sponsor us.
So they don't like pay us money to use their app.
Doesn't cost you a penny.
Okay.
It's free.
No, I'm saying they don't pay us.
What sort of school are we?
We're not sponsors.
Right, and also, what are we? We're a Microsoft.
Teams.
We're a Microsoft Showcase school, the only one in Wales. Hang on. We're the only school in Wales to have that accredited to us by Microsoft. So that gets us access to all sorts of things and all sorts of products. To maintain that stage, it also means to sort of do things to show that we are still worthy of that sort of badge and that kind of honour. One of the reasons that I want you to do this is it's all about communication. And human beings communicate in two fundamental ways, through writing and through talking. Some of you are brilliant at writing. You thrive in it, you love it. Others, though, are not so keen to put pen to paper sometimes. I think it's a bit of a struggle, it's a bit of a hassle. I don't enjoy doing that. However, you are a great talker, a great communicator that way. In 5 minutes, you can probably say what would take you 45 minutes to put on paper at least. Because what I want to get is your thoughts. I hear your views and I show what I've done. And so it's a way to engage with a text on a kind of conceptual level, an idea level, and it shows me again how well you've taken that on board, how you can express it in your own words. That's why I'm using it. It's another really creative tool. Yeah. And when we come back in November, this will be great because we're going to be then having contact with the school in America. And so we've got your views here. They can then join that debate and they can then give us the perspective from themselves. Living in America, living very close to Chicago, that town that Barack Obama said, another way to think about this debate. That's why I'm asking you to do it. Fionn. Has Fionn joined us? Hold the front page. Are you there, Fionn? Sounds silly now. Oh no.
You need to answer that.
No, she's not. She might have just left. So that's what I'm doing. Now, something to maybe help you think about this, and maybe make it a little bit more relevant to you. Okay. Let me get this.
When Andy was 8 years old, a gunman walked into Dunblane Primary School in Scotland and opened fire on a class of 5 and 6-year-olds. Andy was at the school but uninjured. However, 16 children and 1 teacher were killed, making it the worst school shooting in British history. I know you have limited knowledge of this because you were young at the time in elementary school. Looking back on that, how impressed, proud are you of how your town has recovered from that?
Yeah, well, it recovered unbelievably well from it, and it's not something that, you know, anyone would ever want to go through, but it's something that, you know, obviously when I go back there, you know, for me personally, it's been nice to do something. You know, I'm very proud of where I come from, where I've grown up. So when I get the chance to, you know, I'd like to go back, like after, you know, the Olympics in the US Open, I went back to celebrate back home with everyone, the whole, a lot of my family still live there. I've spent, my grandparents have been 40, 50 years, mother, all of our life. My dad still lives there, so yeah, we all go back there, you know, as much as we can. It's a great little town.
A few years ago, you mentioned you began researching it and looking into what happens a lot. Why was that important to you to do?
Well, I think it's going to be a pretty important part of anybody's life, something like that. It's a very personal thing. And yeah, well, I was obviously very young when it happened, so I had limited knowledge of how big an event it was and exactly what happened, and just important to know. You know, I just wanted to know. I was very curious about it. Probably tried to kind of black out or something.
As you can have tennis success, how special is it for you to be able to put a positive light on the town?
Yeah, that's one of the nice things of what I've got to do. Like I said, when I went back to celebrate after US Open, and you know, the whole time was out there and, you know, on the tennis courts and just on the streets. I got to see loads of, you know, my teachers and friends from back at school, and yeah, it's a really strong community, and I'm glad, you know, I've been able to do something that makes them proud.
What was that turnout like when you came back to Dunblane for your homecoming? I mean, how amazed were you by how packed the streets were with people?
Yeah, it was, it was pretty amazing because I'd never done anything like that before, so you have no idea how many people are going to come, if anybody's going to come at all. It was obviously raining, as always in Scotland on the days.
So, how many of you, one, were aware of Dunblane? Okay, well, oh yeah, Sam? Okay. How many of you were aware that Andy Murray was actually in school on the day the shooting took place? Okay, so that's the same two people. Puts things into context, doesn't it? There, but for the grace of God, there may have been no Andy Murray, no Wimbledon success, no Olympic goals, no such a driving force in British tennis for all those years, had he been one of the children that get shot by the gunman. Transfer that then into, you know, the character of Danny. Danny's 8. These kids that get shot in Scotland were 5 and 6. Yeah. What might Danny's life have turned into if she'd been allowed to live and not just hit by a random bullet? It's that kind of idea. It's the one time that we've had one of these things happen in the British Isles that is very like America. He also did one. I'm trying to find. I remember he did an interview in the BBC. I might try and get that, and I'll share that link with you if I can. Another one's quite good, actually, as this one as well, because she was there at the time. She did her first report and she visited it, and again, it gives you that kind of impact.
What do you feel 20 years on about Dunblane and what happened? And Amy in particular was extraordinary.
It's incredible. She's so brave and she spoke so eloquently. And I think it just brings it all back to everyone. I can't believe it's 20 years. And my thoughts obviously are with everyone who has been affected by this. And, you know, Piers, it's the worst thing that I've ever had to cover. It was absolutely horrific. It happens time and time again. You see it happening in America, and you just think, when are they going to come to their senses? How many children have to die before they actually change the law? It doesn't make any sense. Listening to Amy puts it better than I ever could, or any politician ever could, because she lived through it. That's what happened to her as a tiny 5-year-old child. And I don't understand why anybody listening to what she had to say, I don't understand why they could ever have an argument for not having gun control. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Lorraine and I, we know we have a mutual friend, Pam Ross, who lost her daughter to Joanna. Who she's watching. She's a wonderful lady, like so many of those poor parents, you know, who we just remember and they had to get on with their lives, and they're such brave people.
Okay, and then we have the actual survivor themselves that I just talked about.
Survivor shooting, survivor being shot twice, John's Amy, welcome to the show. I mean, I find that very, very difficult to watch, even now 20 years on. And I was just reporting on this for a newspaper and covering this.
And you think what Piers Morgan is normally like?
You were right in the middle of what's going on. Well, I mean, you're only 5. And I've got a 4-year-old daughter. I can't imagine that your memory is that sharp about exactly what happened. But what do you remember?
I didn't actually remember that much of the day. I just sort of remember it, like I remember it being really cold and getting ready for PE, so I had my tights on, sort of underneath my gym shorts. I remember like queuing up to go into the PE hall, and then I don't actually remember him walking in or like sort of opening fire or anything. It was all just sort of happened, and then I don't know, I must have just sort of realised that there wasn't something quite right. I kind of felt a bit strange, a bit, it was like weird, and it was quite smoky in the room, and I was beside another pupil, and I was, my PE teacher was actually beside me, and she noticed that we had been wounded, and there was a big gym hall which kept all the equipment in, so she said to crawl into there, sort of, yeah, to, I don't know, save ourselves. So you crawled into a cupboard, didn't you, to get away? Yeah. I must have knew that there was something wrong, because I remember my sort of right leg trailing behind me, so I kind of knew, but I obviously didn't know I'd been shot because when you're 5, you don't really know what that means.
You were hit twice. Where were you hit?
In the thigh, and then the second one, they didn't realise I'd been shot twice until I'd been in surgery, until they found it sort of went in near my groin, and they found the bullet in the bottom of my back.
And you've had a lot of surgery as a result, haven't you? What has been the effect on you sort of physically?
So I have no movement in my right leg from the knee down or feeling. So it damaged the sciatic nerve, obviously, from the bullet in my spine. Sort of did that. I walk with like a drop foot because I can't move it properly. But yeah, nerve damage. My foot's also like quite a bit smaller than the other one, just because it hasn't really grown since the accident. Just with like the sciatic nerve and things being damaged.
I mean, the physical damage is bad. For a girl to make for life in the way you have been is awful. But the psychological and emotional damage of being caught up in the worst mass shooting that this country has seen, how has that been for you in terms of dealing with it?
I just feel like it's just part of my life, so it sort of feels like the normality for me, and everybody sort of is like, wow, I can't believe that happened, but to me it's just feels like it's normal, but I suppose it is really quite a surreal thing to have happened to you. Yeah.
You lost so many little friends, you know, just senseless and taken. Do you think about them? Are you able to go back there? Do you try and keep all that away?
What do you think of?
I know it's incredibly hard for you. Everybody's going to understand that. It's awful to have to, I mean, this is an anniversary, and I'm sure that this doesn't, you know, we all remember it very clearly. In a strange way, you have, you know, sort of a dimmer memory of it, don't you? Because you were caught up in it. What do you think about the person responsible? You know, you find it hard to, you know, mention the name, but we heard you just in the beginning of the programme saying that in some ways you've got sort of, you feel sorry for that person, which is sort of an incredible thing I expect for people to hear.
It's not annoying to feel sorry for someone. I think it's more like I feel bad for him that he felt that his life was so terrible that he had to ruin other people's lives because he did. But yeah, I hate him. But you know, he's gone and he can't ruin anybody else's life, so it's suppose that's a good thing.
One of the other things we've heard you say is that you refuse to let him ruin yours.
Yeah, I just can't let something like that beat me, because if I did, you know, I probably wouldn't be sort of the person I am just now. It's probably made me, you know, the way I am, stronger.
Okay, there you go, couple of clips, and then let's go back to our OneNote. I'm going to change this for.
Certainly, I believe the 20 past the break today.
Not I'm aware of.
Yeah, me too. It's been every single day.
Because I had a year 7 lesson covered the other day, and it didn't go out until. So do you stay out even longer?
Yeah, so we don't get caught up with the other years.
Okay, right. Okay, I mean, and as you can see, that's really powerful. I mean, again, think of that. You know, and interesting. I've known about Andy Murray and the Dunblane connection for a very long time, and part of me wonders. Again, when she said that has made her stronger, and part of me kind of wonders if that's what's made him such a determined sportsman in a way to succeed. If something at the back of his mind has just, you know, made him that way. And again, what a remarkable thing for that survivor to say. You know, somebody who's been shot twice, you know, and she said she thinks it's made her stronger as a person. That sort of idea. That really tells something. So hopefully something like, you know, watching those. I mean, I'll try and probably include them on Teams so that you've got those to refer to as well. Hopefully that can begin to shape the way you think about this. You know, I say you've got those questions to respond to, and I just want you to really, it is a case of recording your views, recording your ideas about, you know, the gun crime that's going on. And obviously we're linking it here to America, and we're going to you're reacting very much to that Obama speech that you've got there, and it's just to get your views back from that. Amy. I can't hear.
I wrote down my answers to the questions.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you can just do. You can have that, you know, write down your answers to those bullet pointed questions. Because see, if you're just doing the audio, you can have that there beside you as your prompt, so you've got that, so you know what you're going to say. You've got it structured. The way that Amy's just done that, you know, that's exactly how I suggest maybe do it. Don't try and just talk off the top of your head, because you'll just then begin to go ums and ahs and all that stuff. You know, do have some ideas written down there, and I say I want your honest opinion. It might be that you think, well, you know, I do think it's pretty crazy, but on the whole, you know, sad to say, I don't think anything's going to change, because people put that away. They won't have to confiscate it on a Friday, because then you wouldn't get it till a Monday.
Well, you can do that.
Yeah.
But you just get it for the rest of the day.
No. It gets confiscated, taken to the office on an envelope, and doesn't get picked up until Monday.
Is that allowed? How's that allowed?
Because that's in the rules. Anyway. Back to what I was saying. Shh, Sam, shush. So it might be that you just think, you know, the really sort of depressing answer to a lot of these questions here are, it's not going to change, because some people are so wedded to the gun. They so think the gun is their, you know, we'll all have seen them on TV, you know, they do believe it is their inalienable right to carry a gun. And again, it's a case of, you know, if he can carry a gun or she can carry a gun, I think I've got every right to do it too. Why would I give up my gun when folk out there have got guns? You know, you're battling not just decades, you're battling centuries of a love affair with a gun in America. That's the truth. But it'll be good to get your views here, and so that's almost like an outsider's view of what we think of the way things are in America. And then to get views from the Americans themselves, you know, those who live in it, and see how close a symmetry there is. Maybe in some points you might diverge on. And again, there's a good chance, as I said before, the students and pupils that we begin to chat with, there's a good chance that they're going to either know somebody, heard of someone, or have a family member, that sort of thing, a relation who's been involved in a shooting or has been shot themselves, that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to get these different perspectives. Okay? So everybody know what I want you to do with this now? Yeah, you get it? Yeah? And I would strongly encourage, I mean, we all know, because certain people do, I mean, and I'm able to see now that many people who actually kind of look at the prompt and look at the task, that sort of thing, and those who don't contribute. Yeah, in the end, if you don't contribute, and I understand some people might just feel unable to contribute through the Flipgrid thing. I get that, I do. But what we want to do is try to conquer that fear, because it's about having a discussion, and then we can broaden that discussion out of our classroom. We can take it to America, we can take it to France, we can take it to all different countries where you've got links with different schools, and have a debate that really crosses, you know, divides. It's one of the best ways to break down stereotypes that we might have about people in different countries too. It's such a powerful, powerful tool. So I would encourage everybody. I'll put a soft deadline of Tuesday, which allows for people who might not have a chance over the weekend to do anything, to be able to do so. Sam.
Like, most of the questions are saying, like, do you think the people had more or less support, like, about the Americans? Do you say your opinion on this, or do you just say what you think?
Yeah, every question's asking you, do you think, what do you think, what changes do you think? This is asking for your view on the current state of gun gun culture in America, basically, isn't it? So they're your views. And try not to just give one sentence answers, elaborate upon it. And again, in reference to, it's just like, what we learned about, Sean and Uncle Mac, Will, Danny, all the characters who come across here, they're making a point through the interaction that they're having with Will as ghosts in the lift. They're all giving a message. Pick up on that and respond to it. Yeah. And if you want to also do a little bit of your own kind of research before you do this as well, just so that you think, well, wait a minute, yeah. Find out about what some states do with regards to getting a gun. States to look at that would be very interesting would be Texas, Alabama. It's another good one. Look at New York's gun control. Look at Los Angeles. Some of the big cities that you'll know about places. Look at the differences that you can find in state gun control across America. Okay. Right. So you went there. So you get a half-hour break in the morning then, basically. Yeah. Well, why me? So, as a member of staff, what do you make sure you don't run them up?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you. That's polite, that. Hang on till I stop the recording.